Welcome to the DPost Sports Chat. I'm sports editor Drew Rubenstein. I'm with Ed Owens. And Ed, we are 2 days away from WVU's season opener against William and Mary. And obviously the storyline that everybody's talking about and interested in is who's going to be the first quarterback to step out onto the field. Dana Holgorsen is not tipping his hand one way or another. And I guess first, do you have a guess as to who the first quarterback will be?
First quarterback coming out, I think it really at this point would just be a guess, and I'll stick with what I've said all through camp. I think it's going to be Clint Trickett. I think he was the guy they tried to give most of the reps to. It seemed like they wanted him to have every opportunity to win the job. I think Paul Millard made it a much harder decision than they thought it was going to be, but I think when it comes down to it, Trickett will be the first guy out there.
That said, it probably... Well, I guess does it matter? Because I know one conversation you had with Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, earlier this week is, say it is Clint Trickett, and he goes out and just is on fire. 6 for 6, 60 yards, a touchdown, leads the Mountaineers to on a touchdown drive. Do you take a guy out like that? How should they handle this situation where they go in saying they want to play both quarterbacks, but how's this thing actually going to play out?
I think neither Shannon or Dana has ever dealt with this before. It's something they've both said. They've always entered a season with one quarterback in the starting lineup that they knew who was going to be starting the games for them. So I think it is a little uncharted territory, but I think you have to go with the hot hand. It's the same approach they're taking with the running backs. Whoever's getting the job done, I think, is going to stay in. So if a guy like Clint comes out and leads them on a touchdown drive to start the game against William and Mary, can you justify taking a guy like that out? I don't think so. I think as long as they're performing, whoever is doing the best job will stay in the game.
And all that said, I think it's probably the right call to go into the game planning to play both quarterbacks, because honestly, if neither one is separated from the other one through fall camp and the whole off season, what are they really going to do in the 4 days leading up to the season opener? And even if you look at Saturday, if everything goes the way that it should, William and Mary is a Division I AA opponent. It should be nothing more than a glorified scrimmage. So I start to wonder how much you're really going to learn about either guy in this game as well. Oklahoma is sitting just a week away after that. What are the chances you think that we'll actually see both Clint Trickett and Paul Millard play week 2 at Oklahoma?
I think the chances are great. Like you said, I don't think you can really read too much into what you see out of William and Mary. You'll get to see the guys in game situations. You'll get to see them decision making. And I think that's what they've been trying to do in practice for the last 2 weeks, trying to get these guys to separate themselves. Will William and Mary's defense be any better than the defense they've been seeing in practice? I don't really know that that's going to be the case. So yeah, I think heading into week 2, you're definitely going to see Clint, you're definitely going to see Paul. And I think just to confuse the situation a little more, maybe they should even throw in Ford in the later stages of the William and Mary game and not really give Oklahoma much of a chance to get a read on any of them.
That's interesting. Going to the other side of the ball on Saturday, it's Keith Patterson's defense made its sort of debut last December in the Pinstripe Bowl. I don't know how fair it is to judge what happened against Syracuse for what Keith wanted to do this offseason. How much will things be different from what we saw in the Pinstripe Bowl versus Saturday? What are the sort of things that Keith Patterson's been trying to do here?
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair to use that Pinstripe Bowl performance. Syracuse ran all over the field and really made WVU's defense look bad. Patterson only had a couple weeks to prepare for that game. So I think the product you get this weekend is going to look a lot different than the team that took the field. A lot of the same personnel, but I think they're going to be used differently. I think one of the things they said was up front, they're really taking a different approach. It was a lot more angles. They were not necessarily getting the penetration that they wanted, and then the focus this year has been kind of getting downfield, getting after the quarterback and putting pressure on them. So I'd say up front is really one place that you can really look to see a big difference this year.
One thing I know worked on in a column is you've heard Keith Patterson and a lot of the defenders explain this new defense as simple and complicated, which seems to not make much sense. What do they mean by that?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to get across, it's simple for the defense. They know what they're doing. They're getting the calls in quicker. They're being able to adjust to the offense differently, but it's really making life more difficult for the offense. There have been a couple times this offseason where WVU's offensive players have said they've looked across the field and not had any idea what the defense was doing. So I think if their own teammates are having that much trouble recognizing what they're doing, it could make things really difficult for opponents this year.
And kind of playing off of what we were talking about with the quarterbacks, how much of this defense do you think they'll really show against William & Mary, with the Sooners being 7 days away after that?
Yeah, again, probably not very much. I think they're going to do what they need to do to win the game. They're not going to give anything away. They're going to take care of everything they feel like they have to do to make sure they're ready for Oklahoma, but I don't think they're going to do anything that really gives the Sooners any idea of what to expect in 2 weeks.
Great. Ed, I appreciate you joining us, and please continue to check TheDPost.com. We will have a post-game video up after Saturday's game against William & Mary, and we'll also have a live blog going throughout the game on Saturday at TheDPost.com. Thanks a lot.